Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rajacharya Ashtotarasatri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srila Sadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Sham Kund Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Gangamai Ki Jai, Jamunamai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Jai. If you could put that over here. Thank you all very much for kindly taking part today. We're at Caitanya Caritamrta Madhya Lila, chapter 2, text 27, if I'm not wrong. 27. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is commenting on his seed verses for Caitanya Caritamrta, and specifically this verse, Yada Dvaitam Brahmo Panishadi Tada Pyasyatunu Pa Ya Atmantar Yami Purusha Iti Sosyam Sajibaba Shadaishvaryaya Purno Yagita Bhagavan Sasvayam Mayam Chaitanyat Krishnaj Jagati Paratattvam Padamiha. What the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahma is but the effulgence of his body, and the Lord known as the Supersoul is but his localized plenary portion. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with 6 opulences. He is the absolute truth, and no other truth is greater than or equal to him. Now, text 27. Upasana Bhede Chani Ishara Mahima Ate Vasuryatar Tieta Upama. Thus, one may understand the glories of the Lord through different modes of worship, as the example of the sun illustrates. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrashatam Shahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pradijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Takta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Krisha Panu Sute Devi Pranamami Holi Priye Vansha Golpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the Kaviraj Goswami says that Krishna, and therefore Lord Chaitanya, is identical with Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and that the different classes or different worshippers who take different approaches realize the Lord in these three forms, or you can say seekers, aspirants, realize him in these three forms. The Kaviraj Goswami has talked about Brahma realization, Paramatma realization, and now he'll speak little extensively about Bhagavan. She Narayan Krishner Swarupa Bhed Ekai Vigraha Kintu Akar Vibhed. Narayan and Sri Krishna are the same personality of Godhead, but although they are identical, their bodily features are different. Iho tadvi pujtiho tare chari hata, iho venu tare tiho chakradika sata. This personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, this personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, has two hands and holds a flute, whereas the other, Narayan, has four hands with conch, wheel, mace, and lotus. Purport. Narayan is identical to Sri Krishna. They are, in fact, the same person, manifested differently, like a high court judge who is differently situated in his office and at home. As Narayan, the Lord is manifested with four hands, but as Krishna, he is manifested with two hands. So he's, yes. Any comments or questions so far? Okay. Narayanastvam nahi sarvadehinam atmasyati shakila lokasakshi Narayanongam narabhujalayanat tachchapi satyam natatavaiva maya. O Lord of Lords, you are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not, therefore, my father, Narayan? Narayan refers to one whose abode is in the water born from Nara, or Bhodakshay Vishnu. And that Narayan is your plenary portion. All your plenary portions are transcendental. They are absolute and are not creations of Maya. Purport. This statement, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-14, was spoken by Lord Brahma in his prayers to Lord Krishna after the Lord had defeated him by displaying his mystic powers. Brahma had tried to test Lord Krishna to see if he were really the Supreme Personality of Godhead, playing as a cowherd boy. Brahma stole all the other boys and their calves from the pasturing grounds. But when he returned to the pastures, he saw that all the boys and calves were still there, for Lord Krishna had created them all again. When Brahma saw this mystic power of Lord Krishna's, he admitted defeat and offered prayers to the Lord, addressing him as the proprietor and seer of everything in the creation, and as the supersoul who is within each and every living entity and is dear to all. That Lord Krishna is Narayan, the father of Brahma, because Lord Krishna's plenary expansion, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, after placing himself on the Garbha ocean, created Brahma from his own body. Mahavishnu in the causal ocean, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu, the supersoul in everyone's heart, are also transcendental expansions of the supreme truth. So the Brahma's saying to Krishna, you are Narayan, the supreme personality of Godhead. And as we'll see in the coming verses, Kaviraj Goswami expands an amusing conversation between Lord Brahma and Lord Krishna on this point. Anything so far? Yes, Akendra Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Whenever I hear these prayers of Lord Brahma in the 14th chapter, I think how Lord Brahma is the most intelligent, powerful person in this universe. And these are his own realizations of who Krishna is. So I try to pay attention to what he's saying, because it's a very, you can't get more authoritative than Lord Brahma. And also thinking about this pastime, I think that yes, Lord Brahma is the most intelligent and powerful person in this universe, and so, like he says here, when he had tried to test Lord Krishna to see if he were the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I'm thinking, Lord Brahma, intelligent as he is, this is the way he chose to test Krishna. He stole things away from Krishna. He could have done so many other things, but that's the way the most intelligent person in the universe chose to test to see if Krishna was God. And I find it amusing, instructive, everything that, he's taking something away from Krishna to prove that Krishna has everything and can't be stolen from, essentially, is what I'm taking away from it.
Yes, it's, what can we say? Seeing Brahma Vimohan Lila, Brahma essentially bewildered by Lord Krishna. So if even Brahma can be bewildered, of course, then what is our position? And we're thinking, that we're very smart, that we're scientific minded, that we're hard nosed, that we're rational. But we don't trump Brahma, and yet just see what Krishna made of him. Thank you. Yeah. Shishuvatsa Hari Brahma Kori Aparad Shamaite Magin Prasad. Yeah, Aparada Shamaite Magena Prasad. After Brahma had offended Krishna by stealing his playmates and calves, he begged the Lord's pardon for his offensive act and prayed for the Lord's mercy. Tomar Nabhi Padma Hete Amar Janmodoi Tumi Pitamatami Tomar Tanoi. I took birth from the lotus that grew from your navel. Thus you are both my father and my mother, and I am your son. Pitamata balakir naloy aparad kshamamore paraha prashad. Parents never take seriously the offenses of their children. I therefore beg your pardon and ask for your benediction. Krishna Kohen Brahma Tomar Pita Narayan Amigo Patumi Koiche Amar Nandan. Sri Krishna said, O Brahma, your father is Narayan. I am but a cowherd boy. How can you be my son? Brahma Bolen Tumikina Ao Narayan Tumi Narayan Shuna Tahar Karan. Brahma replied, are you not Narayan? You are certainly Narayan. Please listen as I state the proofs. Prakrita Shishtye Yata Jiva Roop Taharye Atmatumi Mul Sharup. All the living beings within the material and spiritual worlds are ultimately born of you, for you are the super soul of them all. Purport. The cosmic manifestation is generated by the interaction of the three modes of material nature. The transcendental world has no such material modes, although it is nevertheless full of spiritual variegatedness. In that spiritual world, there are also innumerable living entities who are eternally liberated souls engaged in transcendental loving service to Lord Krishna. The conditioned souls who remain within the material cosmic creation are subjected to the threefold miseries and pangs of material nature. They exist in different species of life because they're eternally averse to transcendental loving devotion to the Supreme Lord. Sankarshan is the original source of all living entities because they are all expansions of his marginal potency. Some of them are conditioned by material nature, whereas others are under the protection of the spiritual nature. It's interesting, by the way, sometimes we hear that the conditioned souls are emanate from Sankarshan. And here we hear also that the liberated souls emanate from Sankarshan. So he's the source of all the living entities. He's the one who manifests the marginal potency. The material nature is a conditional manifestation of spiritual nature, just as smoke is a conditional stage of fire. Smoke is dependent on fire, but in a blazing fire, there's no place for smoke. Smoke disturbs, but fire serves. The serving spirit of the resonance of the transcendental world is displayed in 5 varieties of relationships with the Supreme Lord, who is the central enjoyer. In the material world, everyone is a self-centered enjoyer of mundane happiness and distress. One considers himself the Lord of everything and tries to enjoy the illusory energy. But he's not successful because he's not independent. He is but a minute particle of the energy of Lord Sankarshan. All living beings exist under the control of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore called Narayan. Any questions or comments here?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes.
I just thought that that phrasing of the material nature is a conditional manifestation of spiritual nature, just as smoke is a conditional stage of fire. I kind of understand that, but I'm not sure if I do. Could you expand on that, please?
When we speak of fire, fire means the flames, the smoke, the wood, sparks, all together they're fire. But the smoke is a partial or limited or secondary manifestation of fire. The flames are the main thing. And in relationship to the flames, there's wood, there's smoke, there's so many things. So and Prabhupada points out where the flames are really going, you don't find smoke. So the material nature is also the spiritual nature, but only partially manifested or manifested in a troublesome form, or a form that gives trouble to the living entities. The American prison is also America the Beautiful, but in an eclipsed and distressing form. Is that okay?
Yeah, it reminds me of when I've learned a little bit about like fireplaces and how to make them more efficient. They have certain types of heaters that as the smoke is created, it goes through baffles in the fireplace and it's superheated so that by the time it comes out the chimney, there's no longer any smoke because there's so much fire and so much heat, it burns even the smoke up. So I'm thinking that like in the pure spiritual consciousness, it's so pure that there is no space for any, there's no space for any material contamination. It's just, pure.
Yeah. And in the smoky manifestation, we're certainly baffled.
Thank you.
Okay. Prithvi gata kuler koron ashray, Shivir nidan tumi sarvashray. As the earth is the original cause and shelter of all pots made of earth, so you are the ultimate cause and shelter of all living beings. Purport. As the vast earth is the source for the ingredients of all earthen pots, so the Supreme Soul is the source for the complete substance of all individual living entities. The cause of all causes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the cause of the living entities. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says, Bijam mam sarvabhutanam, I am the seed of all living entities. And in the Kathopanishad, which says, Nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitananam, the Lord is the supreme leader among all the eternal living beings. The Lord is the reservoir of all cosmic manifestation, animate and inanimate. The advocates of Vishishtadvaita philosophy explain the Vedanta Sutras by saying that although the living entity has two kinds of bodies, subtle, consisting of mind, intelligence, and false ego, and gross, consisting of the 5 basic elements, and although he thus lives in 3 bodily dimensions, gross, subtle, and spiritual, he is nevertheless a spiritual soul. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who emanates the material and spiritual worlds, is the Supreme Spirit. As an individual spirit soul is almost identical to his gross and subtle bodies, so the Supreme Lord is almost identical to the material and spiritual worlds. Material world full of conditioned souls trying to lord it over matter is a manifestation of the external energy of the Supreme Lord. And the spiritual world, full of perfect servitors of the Lord, is a manifestation of his internal energy. I find this simile quite striking. We don't hear it. I think this is the only place I've seen it in Srila Prabhupada's books, that as the living entity, as living beings, we're almost identical with our gross and subtle bodies. We're so closely identified. So when I'm doing something, I, as spirit soul, I'm using my body, I'm using my mind, and I perceive the whole business to be one. I don't think that I'm spirit soul and now I'm thinking something and therefore my body is doing what I'm thinking about. It all appears to be one integrated whole. So we're different from our bodies and minds, but really close. Really close. We're different, but only, what would you say? How does Prabhupada say it? Almost identical. Means not, but almost. So the Lord is almost identical with the material and spiritual energies. He's distinct, but yet he's so closely aligned with them. I found that a striking example. Panchatattva asks, is Srila Prabhupada addressing in the second paragraph of the purport the shelter aspect of the Lord? Well, let's see what the second paragraph, where the second paragraph begins. Well, of course, he's the shelter of everything. Ashraya Tattva, everything else is the Ashrita Tattva, dependent on the Lord. And the Lord is the shelter of everything in that sense, that everything depends on him. What's being highlighted, it appears, is the Lord's identity as the source of everything, and at the same time as everything. Idam hi vishvam bhagavani vetara in the Bhagavatam. This cosmic manifestation is nothing other than the Lord. Elsewhere, Jivanam sarva bhuteshu, Krishna says, I'm the life force, I'm the jiva within all bodies. So the energies of the Lord are not different from the Lord. And at the same time, they're distinct. Everything has its origin in the personality of Godhead. We also recall, I think we were reading about this in the second canto, that when the Lord wished to create the cosmic manifestation, the ingredients came from his own body. Because where else are you going to get the ingredients of the material world? So nothing else exists but the Lord. So the ingredients had to come from the Lord himself. And at the same time, they're practically identical with the Lord. A few paragraphs back, we read that Brahma gives the argument that I'm born from the lotus flower that comes from you. So you're both my father and my mother. You've given me, you've implanted me within this world, And you've implanted me specifically within the lotus flower that is coming from you. So you're both my father and my mother. The father provides the seed, the mother provides the nourishing environment. So you're my father and my mother. Everything comes from Krishna. Sarvam samapnosi tatosi sarvam, in the 11th chapter. I think 11th chapter, Sarvam samapnosi. You pervade everything and therefore you are everything. Vasudeva Sarvamati. I hope that answers. Saraswati says, if only in the human form can a conditioned soul have the consciousness to become liberated. Someone was arguing, we are not born only in human form. Someone was arguing, why are we not born only in the human form to increase the chances for liberation? Well, why are we born in human form at all? Why born? Why not just be liberated to begin with? It's because we have some separate desire. And someone desires to be, someone's desires place him within the realm of human beings, and someone else's desires place him within the realm of pigs. He doesn't want to be a human being. The chances for the opportunity for a human body in which liberation is more accessible is available to him, but he turns his back on it. If you give it to him, he uses it to be like a pig. You give him a human life, and what does he want to do with it? Sex and drugs and rock and roll. All right, then why waste another human body on you? If all you want is sense gratification, be a dog, be a pig, be a rabbit, be something where this higher function doesn't matter because you're not interested. Like sometimes someone's sleeping in the class, we say, just go take a rest. Because even though you're here in the class, you're not really present. You're not able to take part. Better you go take rest. Or some fools come and they just disturb the class with some rowdiness. So, better that you not be here. This is a gathering for spiritual realization, not for displays of rowdiness. Go where the rowdies are. So someone's given a human life, but he wants to use it for foolishness, for madness, for passionate activities, not for cultivation of knowledge. So, all right, take a body more suitable for that. It's not that Krishna is against him. What is that? Samoham sarvabhute. I'm equal to everyone. But yayatam ham prapadyante tamastata. I reciprocate with everyone. You want a dog's body? All right, take it. Narad Muni cursed the Nalakuvara and Manigriva. You become trees because you're living like trees anyway, just displaying your naked bodies, so and being dull with intoxication. So better that you be trees. And then let's see. He must ask about the evidence, Prabin says. I'm not sure what that is, but
Maharaj, Prabin Prabhu had posted something earlier, and
that goes with his earlier. At least Brahma tested Krishna. That is also intelligence. Whoops. At least Brahma tested Krishna. That is also intelligence. That's CC Madhya 6, 80 or 90. But Gopinath Acharya claims, when Gopinath Acharya claims that Mahaprabhu is Krishna, translation, the disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya retaliated, by what evidence do you conclude that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord? Since the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there have been many pseudo-incarnations in India who do not present authorized evidence. 500 years ago, the disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, being very learned scholars, were certainly right in asking Gopinath Acharya for evidence. If a person proposes that he himself is God, or that someone is an incarnation of God or God himself, he must cite evidence from Shastra to prove his claim. Thus, the request of the Bhattacharya's disciples is quite bona fide. Unfortunately, at the present moment, it has become fashionable to present someone as an incarnation of God without referring to the Shastras. Before an intelligent person accepts someone as an incarnation of God, however, he must ask about the evidence. So we seem to have gone quite a bit ahead of the question, but I suppose the point here is that Brahma was right in wanting to test or confirm that this apparent cowherd boy was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still, it was, the Lord considered it uppity, and what right did Brahma have to have, as pointed out earlier, to test in this way, to steal the Lord's friends and calves? It was uncalled for. Just to bring us ahead a little bit. Okay. If I missed the point, then Praveen or someone can straighten me out. Panchatattva Prabhu posts. Nama Purastad Prishthataste Namostute Sarvata Eva Sarva Ananta Viryamata Vikramastvam Sarvam Samapnosi Tatosi Sarva. Yeah, that's the Bhagavad Gita verse I was quoting. Thank you for that. You pervade everything, and therefore you are everything. Now, going back to the purport, we were hearing that the living entity, the Lord, is closely associated with his material and spiritual energies because they're manifestations of him, just as our own minds and bodies are closely associated with us, although they're distinct. Since all living entities are minute sparks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the Supreme Soul in both the material and spiritual worlds. The Vaishnavas following Lord Chaitanya stress the doctrine of Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, which states that the Supreme Lord, being the cause and effect of everything, is inconceivably, simultaneously, one with his manifestations of energy and different from them. Nada Shabde Kohe Sarva Jivar Jiver Nichoy Ayana Shabde Te Kohe Tahar Ashroy. The word Nara refers to the aggregate of all the living beings, and the word Ayana refers to the refuge of them all. So Nara and Ayana, and you get Narayana, Nara and Narayana, Nara and Ayana, so Narayana. Ateva Tumi Hao Mula Narayan Eka Hetu Shuna Tritiya Karum. You are therefore the original Narayan. This is one reason. Please listen as I state the second. Jiber Ishar Purushadi Avatar Ta Shava Hoite Tamar Aisharya Apar. The direct lords of the living beings are the Purusha incarnations, but your opulence and power are more exalted than theirs. Ateva Adhishar Tumi Sarva Pita Tomar Shakti Te Tara Shagat Lokshita. Therefore, you are the primeval Lord, the original Father of everyone. They, the Purushas, are protectors of the universes by your power. Narer Ayanayate Koraha Palon Ate Vahau Tumi Mula Narayan. Since you protect those who are the shelters of all living beings, you are the original Narayan. That song is there. Tumi Sarveshwareshwara Brajendra Kumar. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That you are the Ishra of all the Ishras. You're even the Ishra of Narayan. Purport. The controlling deities of the living beings in the mundane worlds are the three Purusha avatars. But the potent energy displayed by Sri Krishna is far more extensive than that of the Purushas. Sri Krishna is therefore the original Father and Lord who protects all creative manifestations through his various plenary portions. Since he sustains even the shelters of the collective living beings, there's no doubt that Sri Krishna is the original Narayan. So you're the shelter of Narayan, therefore you're the original Narayan. Tritiya Karan Shuna Shri Bhagavan Ananta Brahmanda Bahu Vaikuntari Dham. Now, the third reason. O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, kindly hear my third reason. There are countless universes and fathomless transcendental Vaikunthas. Ite yata jiva tar tri kalika karma taha deka shakshitumi jan shava marma. Both in this material world and in the transcendental world, you see all the deeds of all living beings in the past, present, and future. Since you are the witness of all such deeds, you know the essence of everything. Tomar darshane sarva jagatera sthiti tumi na dekile karo nahi sthiti gati. All the worlds exist because you oversee them. None can live, move, or have their being without your supervision. Narer ayanayate koradarashan Taha Teo Hao Tumi Mula Narayan. You oversee the wanderings of all living beings. For this reason also, you are the primeval Lord Narayan. Here, Kaviraj Goswami takes ayana to mean moving. You're the origin of the, what is that? Brahmayan Sarvabhutani, Yantra Bhutani. You are the director of all the wanderings of all living beings. Purport: Sri Krishna, in his Paramatma feature, lives in the hearts of all living beings, in both the transcendental and mundane creations. As the Paramatma, he witnesses all actions the living beings perform in all phases of time, namely past, present, and future. Sri Krishna knows what the living beings have done for hundreds and thousands of past births, and he sees what they're doing now. Therefore, he knows the results of their present actions that will fructify in the future. Vedaham samatitani vartantanani charja bhavishani chabut. And here it's interesting. He knows, you know, if you could have a computer program and you could know everything that a particular living entity had ever done, and you knew everything about what he was doing now, then good chance you could figure out what he's going to be doing in the future. For us, it's inconceivable that one would know everything about the future of every living being. But for Krishna, this isn't a problem. For us, how could we know the future? How could he know the future if the future hasn't happened yet? If the future is still indeterminate, how could he know what it will be? But for him, it's not a problem. We can puzzle over it. He doesn't waste time puzzling. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the entire cosmic situation is created as soon as he glances over the material energy. Nothing can exist without his superintendence. Since he sees even the abode where the collective living beings rest, he is the original Narayan. So we'll stop here. The Kaviraj, Krishna will have an answer to all these arguments of Brahma. We'll come to that next. The Kendra Prabhu.
I don't want to take up too much time, but where he says Sri Krishna in his Paramatma feature lives in the hearts of all living beings, both in the transcendental and mundane creations. Somehow I recall hearing that Paramatma is in the material world only.
Yeah, I think we talked about that the other day, that in the material world, he's present as Paramatma. And in the spiritual world, the Paramatma is present as Krishna. Even in this material world for the pure devotees. Raman Vinachturita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Vidiyeshu Vilokyanti Yam Sham Sundara. Pure devotees see Krishna within their hearts. The yogis see Paramatma. It's the same personality of Godhead. Abhed, there's no division. He's one absolute substance, but he appears according to one's vision as Paramatma, as Brahma, as Bhagavan. Then as Bhagavan, he can appear as Krishna, he can appear as Narayan, he can appear as in any form the devotee wishes. So this is Krishna, he's one, yet he appears differently according to the situation of the living entity. So in the material world, he appears as the Paramatma, and in the spiritual world, he appears as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, both within the heart and externally. Dhruva Maharaj, in his meditation, seeing the Paramatma within his heart, the Paramatma disappeared, and Dhruva became disturbed. He opened his eyes. And there was the same personality of Godhead, the Paramatma, standing before him. So he's within Antarvagir Avastita, he's within every living being, he's outside of every living being. He's we think in terms of categories, and categories are given to us for our understanding. But at the same time, we remember that he's one absolute substance, undivided, as the sun is one absolute substance, and yet appears differently.